most students are probably aware of, because Adderall has been such a force in college students' lives in the last couple of years. And I wanted to start by seeing if anybody can tell me what ADHD is. Anybody?
Attention disorder.
That it is attention deficit disorder.
Well, attention deficit hyperactive disorder.
Yeah. But what are the symptoms? Like, what makes up somebody who has ADHD? Short attention span? No?
They go from one thing to another thing to another thing and back to the first thing.
Yeah. So, ADHD is, or today we're going to be covering what it is, the misinformation about it that exists, the issues that happen when somebody is overdiagnosed or diagnosed when they don't need to be, and the dangers of missing a diagnosis, like if somebody never finds out. So, first, what it is, it's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or attention deficit disorder. They're two different things. And it's a disorder in the development of the brain. It is an actual physical thing in the brain. You can see it. And it happens usually when people are very young. It's characterized by impulsivity, hyperactivity, and inattentiveness. And diagnosis has been really controversial because of those medications, especially with regard to children, because a lot of the times children just being kids ends up looking a lot like the symptoms of ADHD. Now, I wanted to point out, before we go into anything else, that treatment and medication are not the same thing. When I say treatment for ADHD, I don't mean exclusively giving people pills. They can help a lot. They help me a lot. But they're not the only part of treatment for ADHD. There's a lot of coaching that goes into it. There's a lot of sort of self-realization. And there's just a lot more going on. So this isn't going to be a speech about the medications and the controversies about those. This is going to be a speech about the actual what ADHD is and why it should be diagnosed. Now, some common misconceptions. ADHD exists in people of all ages. Even after symptoms have permissed after childhood, usually they kind of, the restlessness turns into an inner restlessness. People continue to have ADHD, and you can continue to see that in the patterns of their brains. Visible hyperactivity is not a required symptom. You do not need to be visibly hyperactive in order to have ADHD. It can be entirely mental. It's not an inability to focus. I actually talked to an ADHD specialist last year about this, about how he wants to call it attention inconsistency disorder instead. Because instead of really not having the ability to focus, it's the lack of being able to control that focus. And there are several common physical differences in the brains of people with ADHD. I'm going to show you one of them. This one's actually a physical body difference. So in the quotient test, which is a test where somebody is given a headband, that it's kind of like a Wii remote. It just points out at a computer screen, and they're told to do an extremely dull task for 20 minutes. This is the head tracker movement of somebody over 20 minutes who does not have ADHD. This is how much their head moves while they're doing this dull task. This is mine. These aren't head movements like big ones. These are microscopic head movements you can't control while you're looking at something. And people with ADHD tend to have a lot more of them, especially the little tiny microscopic movements, especially over a long period of time. And this is actually how I ended up getting diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 19. Now, there's a lot of issues with the potential for abuse in the drugs that are given for ADHD, and especially when it comes to children who might not actually have the disorder. And so besides that, it's really important to diagnose it because ADHD is comorbid with a lot of other disorders, which means when somebody has ADHD, something less visible like severe anxiety or depression could crop up later in life. And it's important for parents to know how to deal with their children and how to help them as best they can. cultural stigma about ADHD, especially with people faking or trying to get drugs from doctors with it, has led to people not really understanding that it's something that you can see in a brain and that can affect children, especially if other not seen disorders are going alongside with it. And so better understanding of it really helps everyone. It helps lower the amount of people that are diagnosed that shouldn't be, and it helps lower the amount of people that are not getting diagnosed, like my mother, who wasn't diagnosed until the age of 58. She said after she started getting treatment for her ADHD, that was the only time she's ever not felt depressed. This diagnosis